What is going on YouTube, and welcome back to my channel, JoJo Speaks. Thank you all so much for joining me for this being my review for the Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 17, Episode 14. A couple things I want y'all to do before we get started. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. Press that big white subscribe button. It is free and easy to do. It takes less than a second to match that thing, so why don't you go ahead and match for it, brother. Also, be sure to press the thumbs up button for this video. Let me know you're enjoying the content I'm putting out on my channel. Also, be sure to leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on this particular episode. How do you think that things are fanning out? Who do you want to come back next season? Let me know down in the comments. Also, be sure to press notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. And last but certainly not least, be sure to share JoJo Speaks with all your family, friends, and loved ones. Let everybody know JoJo Speaks is out here in these YouTube streets. So y'all know how I do with my housewives commentary. I typically don't talk about the entire episode. I just want to talk about the things that stood out to me. And things really didn't get real riled up until the last scene of the episode. I did think it was cute to see the ladies do those type of challenges where they're throwing random items. They did a tug of war. Of course, Portia's team won the tug of war. I thought that was great. I loved K. Michelle's excuse for not wanting to do the tug of war. She doesn't want to land on her, on her behind because you don't know what will happen afterwards. I thought that was cute. The ladies end up trying something called haggis or something like that. I can't remember exactly what part of the animal that they were eating. They didn't seem to enjoy it. Pinky ended up getting a vegan option of that, I guess. That was okay. The ladies went shopping. They saw how kilts were being, with them being in Scotland, they saw how kilts were being made by hand. Apparently it takes, about 15 hours for them to be done by hand. And, there's a very interesting process when it comes to making the kilt. So that was great. All the ladies were also able to pick out like a sash of some sort. I don't know what it was that Portia was offering the ladies to pay for, that all the ladies were going to have to wear. I'm assuming it's when they have this traders roundtable type of thing that they're going to wear these items. Portia initially says that her and Phaedra are going to pay for it, but then she goes to say, well, since it's Phaedra's birthday, I'll go ahead and pay for it myself. So that was interesting. Anything else before the final dinner? I don't think so. So the ladies are heading to dinner, and the ladies end up talking about, well, first of all, I want to mention, I find it very interesting that Portia and Kelly have decided to let bygones be bygones. They're not going to address the rumors that they spoke on each other. They're just going to let it go. Doesn't make much sense to me whatsoever, because if we're not going to address the rumors, then it's going to be left up in the air. No one's going to admit that, what they said was a lie. Like, we're just going to bypass all of that and just get straight to redemption. So, there's that. I love the fact that Shamia called that out. Like, okay, so Portia can forgive Kelly, but she can't forgive me. That was interesting to see. And then also with Pinky getting a little bit upset about the amount of money that she's spending on her businesses and things of that nature. And, when I talked to my mom about this the other day, she was like, shouldn't Pinky be used to this? And, she's a businesswoman. And, I had to tell her, Pinky's on a reality show. So she has to show her reactions to things that she has to deal with on a daily basis. So I'm not surprised that Pinky was really emotional. I felt that the other girls really supporting her was great to see. It's clear that, as the season has gone on, I've sort of kind of warmed up to Pinky. Initially, I didn't think Pinky necessarily fit into this group, but it seems like she's sort of kind of finding her footing, and I like seeing that. I don't know if I'd be looking forward to seeing her on the next season. I'd give her another try. I wouldn't be upset with her coming back next season. She hasn't made the biggest impact on Real Housewives of Atlanta, but I do think that she does now fit into the group, and I'm glad that she's been able to find her footing in that way. So shout out to Pinky for that. So the ladies go out to eat, and here we go with this big fight between Shamia and Portia. So Shamia reveals to the ladies that her husband has been talking to Dennis, and apparently Dennis told Shamia's husband that Portia does not want her daughter Pilar at Shamia's house anymore. And Shamia felt a certain way about that. And I don't know why she would be necessarily surprised that Portia would have said that, when you know you've probably known Portia the longest out of all these girls, maybe with the exception of Phaedra, but I believe Portia's probably known Shamia longer than she's known. Yeah, Portia's known Shamia is longer than she's known Phaedra. They've been, they were childhood friends. So, I'm yeah, it's it's really hard to talk about Shamia and Portia's relationship because they've kept so many things away from us as viewers. And clearly, Portia has not wanted to discuss her relationship with Shamia at all this season, which I believe the reason for that is Portia doesn't want to be seen as a bad friend, or as the person that she truly is at her core. Then Shamia goes on to say that Portia's mother was trying to sleep with Shamia's father. And I tend to believe that. I tend to believe that because although I haven't been exposed to Portia's mother that much, seeing the way Portia moves, I'm assuming that her mother moves the exact same way. And, I've also heard that, the person that Portia's mother married, who was, I think, related to a civil rights activist, apparently Portia's mother had no interest in doing any civil rights activism whatsoever. She just wanted that man and that money. So it would not surprise me if Portia's mother attempted to sleep with Shamia's father. That would not surprise me whatsoever. Then Portia comes back and says, well, your mother tried to sleep with one of your uncles. And then Shamia's response to that is, which one? And a lot of people are getting on Shamia about that response in particular of saying which one. A lot of people were saying that she should have said, well, that's not true at all. There's no way that that's not true. And I feel as though Shamia said which one because she wanted Portia to validate the truthfulness of that statement. If you know that my mother tried to sleep with one of my uncles, which one was it? If you know, which one was it? So I had no issue with Shamia's response to that accusation. However, I can understand why it would look bad for others who are watching it to not say, well, that's not true. That's not true right off the bat. But I personally don't believe that that Shamia's mother tried to sleep with one of Shamia's uncles. Shamia's mother seems to be much more of a classier woman than Portia's mother, possibly. I don't know. It is what it is. Shamia ends up getting up from the table, and then Portia goes off on this speech about the darkness and the void that she's seeing in Shamia. She says that's the same thing she's seen in previous relationships, and she's done with Shamia. I was sort of kind of feeling bad for Shamia this season because it seems like she really has been ganged up on. It seems like she has become the sacrificial lamb of the season. Has she brought it onto herself? Because the ladies were talking about this at the table. K. Michelle, was kind of on Shamia's side saying, it does seem like you guys are ganging up on her. You've got to give her a chance to breathe. And I did not like the fact that Cynthia said, should we be feeling sad for her? Because she might have brought a lot of this onto herself. Sure, Shamia has said some things this season. However, I don't think that they have resulted. I don't think that the things that she has said should have resulted in everyone ganging up on Shamia. Of course, Shamia is probably the richest woman out of the whole cast. So I'm sure everyone has feelings, yes, but when you're rich, people don't necessarily care about how you feel. But I do feel bad for Shamia. I really do. I honestly don't think anyone deserves that unless you're Giselle Bryant. Okay? But anyways, but yeah, Portia says she's done with Shamia. Shamia leaves the table. Kelly goes after her. I'm glad, those BFFs are supporting one another. That's great to see. But I'm glad that K. Michelle has stayed neutral on this. I'm glad. I think that's the smartest thing for K. Michelle to do, to be honest. And I enjoy seeing that. I don't expect for Portia and Shamia to ever get back on a good footing ever again. I believe that their friendship is permanently tarnished. And I also believe what Shamia said about a conversation she had with Portia concerning Shamia joining the cast as a full-time housewife. For Portia to say that she only wants Shamia to be a friend of the show and never be an actual housewife. Portia saying that this is my domain, this is what I do. And I believe that wholeheartedly for sure. Here's a pro tip. And pretty sure I've said this in one of my previous reviews. I don't believe a word that that comes out of Portia's mouth at all. Never liked Portia, never will. I'm probably sure I never will like her. I just can't get with Portia. I'm sorry, I just can't get with her. She just comes off as fake, just as fake as Phaedra. I don't like Phaedra either. So, it is what it is. Whose side are you guys on? Let me know down in the comments. Do you believe Portia's accusations? Do you believe Shamia's accusations? Do you think both of them are lying? Because there's a possibility that both of them are lying, but who knows? But it's clear that Shamia has had this in her chamber for a long time, and she's been waiting to reveal this stuff. So I'm glad that Shamia found the opportunity. I know a lot of the girls were saying that it was the wrong time, but when would it have been a right time for her to bring that up? Maybe to wait to the reunion? I don't know what the girls' expectations were as far as Shamia revealing that information, but it is what it is. I'm on Shamia's side on this argument personally, but that's mainly because I don't like Portia and I don't believe anything that comes out of her mouth. So it is what it is. But tell me what you guys think down in the comments. Be sure to join me every Thursday night at 8 p.m. for my live Hot Topics and Social Commentary show. I go live every Thursday night at 8 p.m. with my sister Prophetic Fire Reiki, as well as our friend Bianca Edwards. We always have a great time talking about the latest happenings and goings on of the world. So join us every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Thank you so much for watching the video, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.